the highest development of the aspect of Sharanagati, Goptitva Varana. So afterwards you can hold it and keep it in your sunbox next time you need to sing it. consider Krishna as the only enjoyer. Any other suggestions? Good?
To give up the abhiman, the identity, to be the enjoyer.
Yes. So, to give up the idea that I am the enjoyer, and to recognize, to not recognize that Krishna is the only enjoyer. Like this, these are different aspects of that. Anything else?
Abhiman can also be like a pride to be the center of all, be Purusha, to be the center of all attention.
Yes, yes. Abhiman is a kind of pride. It means identity, but also pride.
The stream of consciousness is flowing outside.
Ah, very nice. Stream of consciousness is flowing outside in Purush Abhiman. Huh? You see, when you say Purush, then automatically something else is implied. What is that? Prakriti. Yeah. These are two correlative terms, Purush and Prakriti. Purush is the male dominator, and Prakriti is the female aspect and dominated. So, Purush Abhiman doesn't mean that, oh, I give up the idea that I am male. Not exactly this. Because then what will ladies give up? Are they already enlightened because they don't have Purush Abhiman? No. So, often in Bhagavad Gita and also in the Yoga Sutras, the jiva himself is called Purush. Purush means a person. Purushartha sunnanam. Purusha prakritistohi bhungte prakritijan gunan. So in Gita and Yoga Sutras, the Atma, the soul, is called a Purush because he's a person. He's also actually an enjoyer. The problem is that the jiva is bhokta, enjoyer, but the problem is he considers himself swatantra bhokta, independent enjoyer. When the living entity is absorbed in serving Krishna, and he enjoys, but his enjoyment is concomitant with pleasing the Supreme Lord. And that is the nature of priti, the nature of love. That's what we'll discuss today about bhakti. That the only desire is to give happiness to the object of love. And the result of this is that automatically one feels joy. And it's not even dependent on any circumstances. Because love itself is of the nature of joy. The word priti means love, bhav, and also means pramod, delight, harsh, jubilation. So usually happiness in this world, when you try to get something and you attain that, then you feel happiness. But in bhakti, if a person is only thinking about pleasing the Lord, and he tries and even he fails, but he's still thinking about pleasing the Lord all the time, that is bhakti. And it's joyful by nature. So, Purush is an ashray, the shelter of Prakriti. And Prakriti is ashrita, in the shelter of Purush. So, if you have Purush Abhiman, then you're thinking, I am giving shelter to others. I am in control. I am in charge. And if you give up the Purush Abhiman, then you think, I am Prakriti, so I am ashrit. I am always in the shelter and dependent upon the mercy of my shelter. I am ashrita. So to give up, we cannot give up the Purush Abhiman and just be Nirvishesh Brahman. We have to have an Abhiman that we are ashrit, under the shelter of the Purush, under the shelter of the service of the Purush, in the guidance of our Guru Jana. So these are aspects of Purush Abhiman. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur very beautifully presented the idea of Drik Drishya Vichar, the seer and the seen. Drik, the seer, and drishta, that which is seen. So, Shankaracharya, he wrote one text called Drik Drishya Vivek. And there he wrote a verse, Rupam Drisham Lochanam Drik, Tadrisham Driktumanasam, Drishya Deep Britaya Sakshi, Drishya Eva Natu Drishyate. It means, form is seen, and the eye is the seer. Form is seen, and the eye is the seer. Then, the eye is seen, and the mind is the seer. So your eye sees the form, but the form cannot see your eye. The mind knows what the eye is doing, but the eye cannot see the mind. Dusha di britaya shakshi. And the shakshi, the soul, is the seer, and the seen are the vrittis of the mind. Dusha di britaya shakshi. So we're going back. So the soul can see the mind, but the mind cannot see the soul. This is the chain of seer and seen. Now, the Supreme Soul can see the soul, but the soul cannot see the Supreme Soul. That's the next step. Shankaracharya doesn't speak about that because he's a Mayavadi. he just said Drishya eva natu drishyate, and the Shakshi, the soul, no one is looking at the soul because that's the end of the line for Shankaracharya. But not for us. No. What is that? Anumantascha. Upadrasta anumantascha. The Paramatma is the seer. Upadrasta anumanta. He's permitting everything to go on and he's watching. Also, he sees everything. He sees the soul. So Shankaracharya stops at the Atma because for him the Atma and Brahman are the same. So we can utilize his verse as an illustration, but we also, where he stops, we also stop him. Because we know that Paramatma is the Upadrasta Anumantascha. He is the witness of the soul who is the witness. So, just as the eye sees the form, but the form cannot see the eye. As the mind sees the eye, but the eye cannot see the mind. As the soul sees the mind, but the mind cannot see the soul. And the super soul sees the soul, but the soul cannot see the super soul. So that's really important. Really important thing to know. Now what I'm getting at here is that many devotees, they contract an infection. Yoga infection. Because many persons, they come from a yoga background. Right? Or they studied meditation or something. Right? And because of this, they bring that in with them into their practice of bhakti. So, Rupa Goswami Pad said, Anyabhilashta shunyam jnana kamat dhanavritam. Anukulyena Krishna anushlam bhakti uttama. Uttam bhakti is the continuous, unbroken, uninterrupted cultivation of all endeavors of the body, mind and words, which is meant exclusively for the benefit of Sri Krishna, and which is totally devoid of even the slightest trace of any other desire, and not covered by or mixed with karma, the reward-seeking mentality, jnana, the desire to attain liberation, adi means etc., includes yoga, the yoga sadhana. So, when our bhakti is mixed with the yoga sadhana, then we don't recognize this drishya vichara fully. And our meditation consists of, we close our eyes and then try to see in our mind. So you think that now this is spiritual, this is transcendental, this is internal, but you're still trying to be drik, the seer. And your seeing capacity is only on the vrittis of the mind. So when a person, they're trying to visualize Vrindavan and Krishna and Leelas and everything, they have not given up Purushabhiman, because to be Drik, to be the seer is Purushabhiman actually. On the deepest level, to think that you are the seer is the Purushabhiman. Because the Atma as a Shakshi is only the Shakshi of Prakriti. He cannot see anything more subtle than himself, such as the Supreme Lord, his Nam, Rup, Guna, Leela or anything. And this is why when you do Arjan, when you wake up the Lord in the morning, then Utishta Chista Gauranga, Jayini Dramapu, Shubha Dristi Pradhanena, Talokam Mangalam Kru. Oh my Lord, please wake up and you look at me. Or in Mangalati we sing, Shubha Dristi Karo Prabhu, Jagatera Prati, Jago Karitaya Mora, Sumangala Rati. Oh my Lord, please wake up, open your eyes and cast your auspicious glance upon me, and by that glance awaken spontaneous rati, atma-rati, attachment of my heart for your lotus feet. So in this way we approach the deity. This is why, you see, when you give pranam before the deity, you don't give directly. Because if you bow down directly in front of the deity, that means you have come with Purushabhiman. That is, I am Drik, I am the seer. I've come to see Krishna. Sometimes people also, they bring binoculars to the temple. If the deity is small. So, they come with the attitude of the seer. But in Vaishnavism, we bow down to Thakurji with our left side to the deity. With our head facing that way, then how will we see him? Why? The significance is we've come that he will see us. But also you cannot, I see many devotees doing one-handed obeisances. Because they don't want to take their hand out of the bead bag. Because they're doing Nirantara Nama Seva, apparently. So it's a seva apparat to do a one-handed obeisances. So take your hand out of the bead bag, tuck your bead bag in and put it behind you, and with two hands, like that, with the left side of the body to the deity. Like this. So we have the mentality, we give up the Purush Abhiman, that I am the seer. And the Supreme Lord, we are begging him to glance upon us by his merciful glance. Then our rati, our love is awakened by his mercy. So, when the devotee is contaminated by a yogic conception, because the yogi is always looking, he's doing samapati, he's trying to concentrate his chitta on some object, and the chitta will transform and become that very object, and then he'll examine it and acquire the powers from that, develop mystic powers and everything. This is the yogic meditation. But in bhakti meditation, we are not the Drik, we are not the seer, we are the seen. We chant and we pray in such a way that Krishna will mercifully look at us. And then, by his mercy, he can Sevanmukhi jivado swayameva spuratyadaha. He can manifest before us. So, don't confuse devotional meditation with yogic meditation. Because the yoga meditation, they're also trying to give up the concept of being the Purush, but they do it in stages. Pratyahara, they withdraw the senses of the energies of the sense atoms which are spread out throughout the body, they withdraw them back in, again like that. So they withdraw their abhiman of being the Purush of the body. And then they gradually go through the stages of Savitak, Nirvitak, Savicha, Nirvicha, Sananda, Sasmit, like the 6 levels of Sampragyata Samadhi, which are actually being the Drik, the seer, being the seer of different layers of the material energy. They visualize the gross material energy in the Savicha, Nirvicha. They visualize the subtle material energy in, Savitak, Nirvitak. They visualize the subtle material energy in Savitar Nirvichar. They visualize the mechanics of their own perceptions. How the sense atoms are interacting with the prana to bring about perception in Sananda Samadhi. And lastly, they come to the chitta itself, being a Shakshi of the chitta itself, in the stage of Sasmita. So there's only a sense of I am, but what I am, there's nothing. I am, it's just the I, like that. So they're seeing the chitta. And then, so essentially what they're doing is just as an archer practices archery by aiming at a large target. And then gradually, he aims at smaller and smaller targets. So in the same way, the yogi is aiming at a gross target, a subtle target, a more subtle target, a more subtle, until he comes to the most subtle thing, and then he withdraws his consciousness from that as well, again, further, and then he becomes without a Purusha Abhiman. Like that. So that's what the yogis are doing. So throughout their meditative process, meditation on objects, they're all the seer. But Chodata Purushabhiman, if we want to have a vision of Divine Vrindavan and become absorbed in our Siddharup, our spiritual form, then there cannot be any Purushabhiman at all. And therefore, we are not the seers, but we are the seen. We are not the Purush. We are the Prakriti. We are the Ashrit, the sheltered. So in the spirit of praying for mercy, we chant the holy name and pray for Krishna's mercy. And we can utter the beautiful verses which describe Krishna's, the glories of his Nam, Rup, like Namastakam, or his Rup, like Kasturi Tilakam Lalata Patale Vakshastale Kostabam. You can see the deity form like this. And gradually, by the mercy of Bhakti Shakti, then one will have the vision of the Abhas, the reflection of the Swarupa of Krishna on his clear chitta. So this is Todato Purush Abhiman.
Can we ask a related question?
Todato Yogi Abhiman. We are not yogis, we are Bhakti yogis. Yes.
Well, we had a discussion this afternoon. Topic is related to this. That there's this one verse, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem, which is saying that this love is dormant in our hearts, and we have Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, which is saying that this love, under the guidance of a Sadguru, is got from the associates of Krishna. The Guru also is an associate of Krishna. So, can you help reconcile with this old question, but somehow it has come up again?
Actually, the verse does not say that the prem is dormant in the heart. It says the prem itself is Nitya Siddha, it's eternally perfect. In other words, it's not something which is generated. For example, let's say you're trying to develop a yoga siddhi, right? So there's a practice that you do, and you gradually attain that siddhi. So your practice is producing that ability in you. If you playing piano, you practice every day and then you can play a symphony. So your practice is gradually producing that ability. But bhakti, the practice of bhakti is not producing prem. The prem is already existing, it's eternally perfect, it's the internal potency of the Lord. And it's doing its vilas, playing always in the hearts of Krishna's devotees. And therefore sadhya kabunai, it can never be called a sadhya, in the sense that sadhya is something that you get by doing something. It's a goal which is generated by the activity. So in that sense it's not a sadhya. But still it's our sadhya, but to refute the idea that it can be produced by a sadhana, then nitya siddha svabhavasya prakatyam vriddhi saddhita. Sadhana is that which creates the opportunity for that which already exists to prakat, to manifest in the heart of the living entity. So, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhika Bunai Sravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kore Udai. When the chitta becomes purified, then this bhakti makes its appearance. Udai means rises up. So just like the sun, it's not that in the morning the sun was just created. The sun always existed. It it just rises in the morning. So this is a very critical point, it's a very big thing, because many persons they tell Jiva has no swarupa and there's no prema in the heart and da. And then the other side you have many of our acharyas, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, that's all. Prema is the inherent in the heart of the Jiva. Like this. So, this is a very critical point because they seem like two different ideas. But actually they're the same. But they're from two dristikon, two different perspectives. One is from the perspective of the experience of the person in this world, within time. If you look within time, there's no prem in the jiva. How will there be prem? Prem is Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma. How can it be covered by maya? It's not possible. If you have prem, then how can you be in maya? If it's covered, what will cover it? And this prem is actually ladini vritti, it's a vritti. So vritti is an activity. Activity is not, an action is not a thing. It's an action. So if the action is not acting, then it's not there. For example, in your body, there's a vritti, you can run. Right? But now you're not running, so where is running? Can I operate on you and extract a cup of running? No? Because it's not a thing, it's a vritti. So you have a potential to manifest that vritti, but right now you're not massing the vritti, so the vritti is not there. How can you say? But you can say it's dormant. Okay. Yes, it can manifest, but it's not there. So, the jiva, he cannot manifest bhakti by himself, that's not with him. So this is the perspective from within time. But from the perspective of outside of time, then this is very... We're not going to be able to get to a class if I explain this, but if you're interested, I'll try to explain it. Because many devotees get into trouble with this thing. And become confused or lose faith or take sides and argue and everything. Don't get into arguments. Don't go into arguments. Be happy, be peaceful, and know that, for example, Jiva Goswami Pad, he's explained about jiva-tattva. That Jiva, he's conscious, he has Ananda, but that Ananda is not actually a really positive Ananda. It's an absence of misery. And also Srila Sanatana Goswami said, the Jiva is Sachidananda Matra. Means a small amount of Sachidananda, but the spiritual energies, Krishna and Bhakti is Sachidananda Gana, condensed. So, this is why the Jiva who doesn't have the shelter of Bhakti actually cannot please Krishna, because he's Sachidananda Gana and the Jiva Sachidananda Matra, so the Jiva has nothing that he can please Krishna with. Understand? So, we need Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, which is a Sachidananda Gana. Condensed. So, the internal potency, Swarup Shakti is Sachidananda Gana, but the Jiva Shakti is Sachidananda Matra. So Jiva Goswami very clearly is told, there is no bhakti in the jiva, he needs the shelter of bhakti. But our acharyas in more recent times, they have told, oh, bhakti is the potential dormant in every jiva. Right? And Swarup is dormant, and so on. Now, how to reconcile? It's a very critical point. It is not something that can be touched with logic, but we'll try to use a little bit of logic. You have to think about it a little. In Nyaya, Navya Nyaya, there's a category called abhav, absence. Absence means something is not there. What's there? Nothing. It's an absence. Just like on this table, there is, let's say there's a table, bare table here. What is on the table? Nothing. Right? So then you will all agree there's nothing on the table. But a Nyayika, Navya-Nyayika, will say, how many types of absence are there on the table? There you go. Oh, what is that? How many types of absence are there? You are saying there's an absence of things on this table. How many absences are there? And are these absences different from each other? Because if you say that there's no bhakti in the jiva, there's no swarupa in the jiva, then all the jivas are the same. Right? But then some of our acharyas are telling, oh, every jiva has a potential swarup which is different. So, Jiva Goswami is saying all the jivas are the same. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said everyone has a swarup. So it seems therein, and then people try to use this as a political leverage to try to break the faith of persons or move them from one sampradaya to one line to another and so on like this. But they're saying the same thing, it's from a different perspective. So let's look at the Navya-Nyaya. Why do they speak about different kinds of absence? The logic is this, that time is one. Time is one. What time is there? Only one time. Eternal time. And the experience of past, present and future is caused by the gunas in our mind. Therefore, if we say there is an absence, there's an absence of a cup on the table, right? So, what type of absence is it? Is it the pragabhav? Is it pradangsa-bhav? Is it adhyatma-bhav? So many different types of absence. So one type of absence is called the pragabhav. That means that there was no cup on that table since the beginning of time. But the absence of the cup on the table will come to an end when someone puts a cup on the table. Right? So, there's no cup on the table. There's an abhav of the cup on the table. But what kind of abhav? Pragabhav. And it comes to an end when? There? Like that. So then there's pradangsa-bhav. Pradangsa-bhav means the absence of something caused by a destruction. So, there was a vase, right? And the absence of, there was no absence of that vase. But someone smashed it. So when it was smashed, the absence of the vase has a beginning, but it has no end. So pragabhav is an absence which has no beginning but comes to an end. And pradangsa-bhav is an absence which has a beginning but has no end. Is it clear? Who's confused? Okay, there's a cup, right? Now, the absence of the existence of that cup, when you smash it, the absence begins, right? And because you can never put it together, it will never be the same, that absence has a beginning but no end, right? Is this clear? So the other one is the other way around. It's an absence that had no beginning but it came to an end. Yeah. So then there's the adyantika bhav, means an absolute absence. Like the son of a barren woman. Yeah? Have you seen the son of a barren woman? No? Because a barren woman never had a son. Yeah? Like the horns of a rabbit. Have you seen the horns of a rabbit? No? So that's adyantika bhav. So if there's a bhav, there's an absence of something on this table, how many types of a bhav are there? And what abhav are you talking about? Adyantika bhav, pradangsa-bhav, praga-bhav? So, for an ordinary person, I think there's nothing on the table, so there's nothing to talk about. But for a Navya-Nyayika, this is a very complicated, this nothing is a big business. You know? There's so many variables involved in this. And then, there can be many different types, many different praga-bhavs and pradangsa-bhavs as well. Because, for example, on this table, there is the praga-bhav of a cup, and a speaker, and a Kindle, and an iPod. There's millions of different types of praga-bhavs on this table right now. Can you see them? Because everything that could possibly be on this table In the course of the history of the table, there is an above of that. Right? Okay? So, if someone says, there's no bhakti, there's an above of bhakti in the heart of the jiva, and there's an above of relationship with the swarup, right? Then you say, oh yeah, the jiva has no swarup. But if you say it's an above, because Nyai actually says, your idea of past, present and future is in your mind, and time is one. So from the perspective of eternal time, there's a particular kind of above in the jiva. So the jivas have prag-abhav of bhakti. Understand? That's the first teaching actually in the Bhakti Sandarbha. First, Anucheda Bhakti Sandarbha.
This means the absence was eternal, but it can come to an end.
Yes. Yes. So in one sense, that prag-abhav is like a potential. Right? There's nothing there, but there's only nothing there because your mind is in time. And if you were outside of time, you would say, there's a prag-abhav, there's absence of some, but it's going to be there. It's practically there in one sense, from the point of view of eternal time. So if someone says it's not there, they're right from that perspective in time. And from a Navinyai perspective, and seeing things, that time is one, then we can say, that we will call it an above of something, like that. But this above is a real category. It's really something. And so because the above of bhakti, the particular type of bhakti that you will have, the particular type of swarup with which you will have a relationship with, everyone will have a different swarup. And therefore, on one perspective you can say, all the jivas are the same, there's no difference between them, and they have no bhakti. And from another perspective you can say, all the jivas have an above, but they all have the above of a different swarup. So even though there's nothing there, it's a different type of nothing in everyone, therefore all the jivas are different, and they all have the potential to attain a particular swarup. So whether you say it this way, or whether you say it that way, it's the same thing. It only becomes a problem when you're speaking from this side. If you're speaking from within time and saying it's there, now you have a problem because you have a transcendental Swarup Shakti which is somehow there, which is a vritti, but it's not active, but it's still somehow there, and it's also transcendental and also covered by mind. So then it gets into a little, now it becomes a mistake. You're saying the same words as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada and so on, but actually you're not understanding what they're saying, like that. And then you get into a clash with Jiva Goswami. So don't be in a clash with Jiva Goswami. What he's told is perfect, and also what our acharyas told, some of our more recent acharyas told, that is also perfect. Try to reconcile. So actually Kanishta Adhikari cannot reconcile. And Madhyam Adhikari, his faith isn't shaken, but he also kind of Uttam Adhikari can. Not Uttam Bhagavat, Uttam Adhikari. That means from Ruchi onwards, then these types of power of reconciliation that comes from realization can manifest. Are you satisfied? Okay, so tomorrow you will explain this to everyone. That's So now we have to start our class. Also I'll make the short Mangalachana. Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanavitam. That is Samastigat Pranam. In this one verse, pranams to everyone is included. So, first of all, I offer my heart like flowers thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Guru Parabrahman. Nityalila Parishtom Vishnupada Stotra Srimad Rupanugacharya Varya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Secondly, I offer my pranam thousands of times the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev to Srila Prabhupada and all of our Sri Rupanuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. And finally, I offer my pranam to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Yes, thank you. So, now I have mentioned this, it raises another point. And that point is, if Srila Jiva Goswami has explained in one way, why did Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and those who came after him explain in a different way? So faithless persons, they think, oh, he didn't read the Sandarbhas or something like that. But we know, in the biography of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he writes, I have somewhere in my notes the exact dates, when he came to live in Jagannath Puri, there was quite a circle of the Bhagavad scholars there. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they formed a group, and they used to study Srimad-Bhagavatam, and they went through, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur went through the Sandarbhas himself for the first time with a group of very experienced scholars who had been studying the Sandarbhas for years. So in his biography, and I have somewhere in my notes, now I don't remember all the names of the persons, but even the names of the scholars under whom Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur spent years studying the Sandarbhas in Jagannath Puri, he has given in his Swarati Jivani, his autobiography. And that club of Vaishnavas who came together to study the tenets of the Bhagavatam took place in the Jagannath Bala Batika in Jagannath Puri. You've been there? Right? There's a beautiful temple there, which is the spot of the residence of Ramananda Rai, actually. So, as Westerners, we're not allowed to go into that temple, but the gate's quite big. You can go right up and you can more or less see inside. And you can go into the garden. Now 50% of it has been turned into car park. And it's not as beautiful as it was when I first went there many years ago. But still, the place is there. If you are the seer, then you'll see that everything has been lost. But if you go there without the Purusha Abhiman, then by the mercy of the Dham, then we can have some experience of what is that Jagannath Bala Batika. And how Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is eternally there with the pandits studying the writings of Jiva Goswami also. So he was studying. So we have to conclude that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he studied and he read the perspective of Srila Jiva Goswami, yet still in Jiva-Dharma and other texts he decided to explain the jiva-tattva and bhakti-tattva from another perspective. So why would he do that? Now, I didn't get the chance to ask him, to be honest. But we're having Mr. Ghosty now, so we're sharing our thoughts and feelings. So when I'm speaking from Shastra, this is one thing. Now I give a disclaimer, I'm just from my heart sharing my thoughts about this. Srila Prabhupada said, Vaishnavas, they're like scientists. They come together, they exchange notes and everything. So there's a certain level of research and investigation and cross-pollination of ideas as well. Not among the neophytes, among the more senior devotees. So, one thing that comes to mind is that in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna said, Mahatmanas tumam partha, daivim prakritim asrita, bhajantyananya manaso, gyatva bhutadim apyam. The great souls, they are under the shelter of the divine energy. Just as the conditioned souls, they are under the control of the three gunas all the time. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasya ahankara vimudatma kartayami. Due to ego, they're thinking that I am the doer of activities, but those activities are just going on the pravaha, the flow of the gunas. And they're identifying with that and just thinking, I am karta. So, the great souls, they are not under the control of the gunas. Bhakti Shakti has entered them. Sarvatma snapanam, they're immersed. They're doing snan in the Swarup Shakti by the mercy of Nam Sankirtan. And they're in the flow of bhakti. So Mahatmanastu Mampata Daivim Prakriti Mashita. Bhajantya Ananya Manaso. Krishna said, those great souls, they do my bhajan. Ananya Manaso, with one pointed attention. Tasmare Kena Manasa Bhagavan Satpatampati Srotavya Kirtitavyasta Deyam Pujasta Nityada. With one pointed attention, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, meditating. And at what point are they meditating? Gyatva bhutadim avyayam, when they know that I am the origin of all existence, and I am avyay, unchangeable, eternal and inexhaustible. That means, gyatva, after knowing that I am the bhutadim, the origin of everything, I am eternal, I am immutable, I am unlimited and inexhaustible, then they do bhajan. That means, gyatva, after attaining tat-padartha gyan. 3 types of gyan. Tat-padartha gyan means knowledge of Bhagavan, Bhagavad-tattva. Then, tvam-padartha gyan, knowledge of jiva-tattva. And then, Brahma-jiva aikya gyan, knowledge that the jiva and the atma are one. So that we reject. We don't accept that. That's an obstacle to bhakti. That's an obstacle to bhakti. But, tvam padartha gyan, knowing jiva-tattva, and the tat-padartha gyan, knowing Bhagavan, these are accepted on the path of bhakti, and they're necessary. But Srila Vishnu Thakur points out in his commentary on this verse, Gyatva bhutadim avyanam, that they do one-pointed bhajan, knowing tat-padartha gyan, having knowledge of God, means that Ananya Bhajan is independent of Tvam Padartha Gyan. Understand? We got it. Did everyone get it?
No.
Yeah? Aristanasa's got it. Krishna Chandra's got it. Yeah? Did Bhagavati get it? At least if 4 people get it, I'll be satisfied. What a very beautiful conclusion Srila Vishnu Thakur is taking from this verse. He said, Bhajanta Ananya Manaso, they are doing bhajan to me, one-pointed, gyatva bhutatim avyayam, having understood, having realized, tat-padartha gyan, Bhagavan, like that. So then he says that the Ananya bhajan, one-pointed bhajan, is not dependent on tvam padartha gyan, understanding the jiva-tattva. Right? That means, let's say, there are 2 devotees. They both have long white beards, and since they were 18 years old, they've been quarreling with each other, whether the jiva fell from the spiritual world or not. There's another devotee with a long white beard, he's been quarreling with them for the same amount of time, whether or not the swarup of the jiva is fixed, or whether it's present or not present, like that. So they're all arguing over Tvam Padartha Gyan. In the meantime, Srila Vishnu Thakur is saying, actually Ananya Bhakti doesn't depend on, has no dependence on, it is not, he says, it is not apeksha, it is nirapeksh, it is not dependent on Tvam Padartha Gyan. Why? Because the realization of yourself depends, it is a concomitant result of realization of Krishna, and Krishna is realized whether or not you have Tvam Padartha Gyan. This is why I'm telling, don't argue with everyone, because people will understand according to their level of realization, according to their capacity, or what their Gurudeva has told them. So if someone's Guru has told them like this, and someone else's Guru has told them like that, then who is correct? They're both correct, because they're both following their Guru. This is maturity. This is maturity. There's a very nice biography of Tinkari Baba. And there it said that when any devotees used to visit Tinkari Baba, he would ask them, And, oh, who is your guru? Who is your line? What is your line? And then knowing that, then he would instruct them according to how they teach in that line. Ramakrishna Pandit. It is said about him. So really, it should be said about every pure Vaishnava, because pure Vaishnavas are like that. Because they are beyond confusion and they understand these things. And something, for example, what I explained, the reconciliation of it's there and it's not there and everything, and abhav and all these things, maybe you didn't catch it. So if you didn't catch it, then perhaps at the moment the capacity is not there. It may come in the future. But it doesn't matter, because Ananya Bhajan is not dependent on Tvam Parivarata Gyan anyway. Just love Krishna, serve Krishna. You'll find out everything about yourself when you realize Krishna. Nice point. So you see, this Srila Gurudeva commentary on that verse. Very beautiful. So, now, why would Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explain in a way that seems different? The thing is that Raganuga Bhakti depends on one thing. Of course, it depends on mercy, but from the perspective of the practitioner of Raganuga Bhakti is characterized by Abhiman Lakshana Vishesh Bhav, a special mood which is Abhiman Lakshana, characterized by a particular sense of identity. Right? So if you tell someone, oh, you have a swarup, and then as their initiation is going on and everything, and the Guru says, you are in this relationship with Krishna, then the devotee, then this Abhiman comes strong. Yes, I have this particular relationship with Krishna. Like that. And so, Raganuga Bhakti requires Abhiman Lakshana Visheshbhav, a special mood characterized by a sense of identity. So if you spend 10 years trying to teach the person that you have no swarup, you have no nothing, you're just like a little, spark of Tatastha Shakti without any, distinguishing characteristics from anyone else. And then afterwards you try to tell them, guess what? You've got to now think that you are some, associate of Krishna in the spiritual world in this particular rasa. Now it's going to be very hard, right? Because you have a particular type of Tvam Pradata Gyan, and now you have to, and you can't really cover it. Yeah? Because all the time you're saying, oh, my name is Rasagula Manjari, but actually deep down you're thinking, actually, I did not write that one, actually. So it becomes, it may be, as Nam, chanting Nam and everything goes on, one becomes mature, slowly, it can come. But it seems that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wanted to, there's no need to go through all the very, very minute and meticulous details of philosophy. Srila Jivakar Swami has presented that in order to stave off attacks from persons coming from other philosophies, like that. So, gradually as one is advancing, he can learn all of these things. It's good. But for the general person, they'll never go into the philosophy in that depth, and even it's not even necessary for them. Because there are two types of paths. One is called Vichar Pradhan Marg, and one is called Ruchi Pradhan Marg. So the difference between Vichar Pradhan Marg and Ruchi Pradhan Marg is that in Vichar Pradhan Marg, that means the path which is predominated by philosophical deliberation, you will not take one step forward until you have analyzed each and every part of the scripture according to the 6 links, the 6 symptoms, upakram upasangharav, abhyasa batopalam, artavad upapatischa, lingam tatparya nirnaye. It is said in Mimamsa Shastra that to analyze any Vedic writing, a text, or a chapter, or a passage, or even a verse, you can apply this method of interpretation, this lens of interpretation, where you look at, you try to find first of all a point of commonality in the beginning and the end. That's called upakram and upasangha. And then you look for abhyas, something which is repeated. And then you look for aparvata, some unique claim within the text. And then pal, what does this text say is the fruit of following the text? Then artavad, what things have been glorified? And then upapati, that means not upapati bhav. That's upapati with one T. Upapati with two T's means appropriateness. In other words, when you gather together all of these different lings, symptoms, then you present a conclusion which is consistent with all of the lings. For example, let's say in the Upanishads it says Dvasupana sahuja sakhaya samavavriksham parishashvajate. There are two birds sitting in a tree, and one is tasting the fruits bitter and sweet, and the other one is just watching. And when the one who is tasting the fruits of happiness and distress turns to the other one, his friend, he realizes all joy. Okay, so here's the passage. So the beginning begins with the word dwa, two, and also ends with the two. So that is the beginning and the end. It's something about two. Right? Now one of the birds, what is being glorified here? It said that the fowl, that if one bird turns to the other, he becomes completely happy. So we can look at we examine the various lings here, and then upapatti, what is appropriate. Then it would be appropriate to say that the bird who's eating the fruit must be the jiva, right? Because we're experiencing happiness and distress, and he has sweet and bitter fruits. And then the bird who is not tasting the fruit, it's appropriate to say that that must be Bhagavan. Right? And so when the jiva turns toward Bhagavan, that is bhakti, to turn towards God, then he finds all happiness. So the conclusion is bhakti. So that's appropriate because it's consistent with all the lings that we identified in the verse. Right? So if you say, the purport of this portion of the Upanishads is that the soul, the Atma and Parabrahman are one. Right? Well, that's where are the lings for that? So that would not be upapatti, that would not be appropriate. Because everywhere it's told two. And why would Brahman be tasting the fruits and suffering? And how did Brahman become two, and before it became, and then becomes one again, and so it's by this method of interpretation you can find a portion of the Upanishads, analyze it, and say this is the conclusion. So when the acharyas or great sages manifest the Vedic literature, they plant these links throughout the literature to help us interpret it correctly, or to establish what the correct interpretation is. So, Vichar Pradhan Marg means that path where you never take a step forward until you've identified all the links and established what the fact is, then you take a step forward. Then you analyze again, and you keep doing that, you keep doing it, and you won't progress to the next step until everything has been thoroughly analyzed. That's called the Vichar Pradhan Marg. But then, there's Ruchi Pradhan Marg. The path which is predominated by taste. That means that you hear about the beauty and the pastimes and qualities of Krishna, and you feel, wow, that's wonderful. I want to hear more. And so you hear more and more and more, and you don't have to analyze it too much, because bhakti doesn't depend on analysis. You know, when Ajamil was calling his son Narayan, 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 bhakti was manifesting in his heart. He didn't even know who Narayan was. He was using the name to refer to his son. So bhakti is something which is completely transrational. It's going on a totally another level. It doesn't depend on your intellect or understanding whatsoever. Bhakti goes on by itself. And then bhakti manifests understanding. Therefore it is said, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yogi Prayojita Janyatyasu Vairagyam Chayat Oikam. As long as there's no aparat. If there's aparat, then it won't. So if one is near aparat, one is not critical or hypocritical, then just the engagement of bhakti will manifest divine knowledge in a person. So it's not dependent on the Vichar Pradhan Marg. But some persons who come from a background in meticulous metaphysical analysis are just so addicted to it. And that can be a big obstacle. And therefore, sometimes our acharyas like Srila Jiva Goswami in Sandarbhas, in places, he's catered to them. to remove all of their logical objections to accepting the glories of bhakti, so to give them an entrance into it. Whereas Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, with great respect for all the previous acharyas, and extracting the essence also of the Sandarbhas and the other texts of the acharyas, saw that the people in general, they don't have a sanskar, that sanskar that creates that obstacle that has to be removed then by this type of presentation. So for the general people, instead of looking from this perspective, let's look from that perspective and just make a smooth path straight into Radha Marg. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Nityananda Prabhu has opened the marketplace of the holy name. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I'm just a sweeper in the marketplace. That means the path which is leading to the marketplace of the holy name, there were some thorns and there were some rocks there. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur took a broom, swept them out of the way, and made the path smooth for everyone to enter into it. So in this way, I am reconciling the perspective of Srila Jiva Goswami, the perspective of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and also positing the reason why Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur presented in a different way, though he was aware of the other presentation. Is it acceptable to the Vaishnavas? So, always know that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is the seventh Goswami, he is eternal associate of Sachinandan Gauri and Radha and Krishna, and he is coming to this world. Don't think that he is not learned or not as learned as any. You know, he was the first one in this world to whom Mahaprabhu revealed all the glories of Ananda-Dham and expressed it in his Ananda-Dham Mahatma, the glories of Ananda-Dham Parabrahman, and all of these things which accelerates even the most fallen and ignorant living beings directly into the ocean of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. So there's no Acharya greater than Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in this modern age. Of course, he gives respect to his Guru Parampara, and we honor his Parampara as being his Gurujan. But at the same time, in the modern age, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is specifically empowered to bring us all to the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga.
Would you like to take another related question?
Okay, looks like the class I was going to give has been cancelled.
Oh no!
Well, do you want to have another question?
111.
111? We'll hear the question, I'll decide whether to answer it or not. Okay, yes.
When you speak about the Swarup Shakti coming in the heart of a jiva as Shraddha, and then it grows all the way to Prem. So, looking at it in this way, why do we say Gyan Bij and Bhakti Lata Bij? You know, why do we separate it as Bhakti Lata Bij is from Ruchi onwards, and from Gyan to Nishtha is Shanadati.
From Shraddha to Nishtha.
From Shraddha to Nishtha is Shanadati. You had explained me this concept once, and I try to explain it to
because what does Nishtha mean? Nishtha means firm faith, and Shraddha means Komala Shraddha. So from soft faith to firm faith. So firm faith is the dwara, the door into bhakti, into the experience. Soft faith, that you'll engage in bhajana kriya. Bhajana kriya matra, natu bhajanam. Only doing the outer activities of devotional service, but not actually bhajan, without soft faith. But as the faith becomes firm, then when you do bhakti with nishtha, then what happens? Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata seva bhagavati uttama-shloke bhakti bhavati naishtiki. Now bhakti becomes irrevocable, and the realization begins from there. The actual experience of the swarup of bhakti, of swarup chakti. So that Shraddha in the beginning is actually Vishesh Sanskara, a special impression. You see, there is two types of people. A person who has not had sadhu sangha and a person who had sadhu sangha. A person who did not have sadhu sangha. They do bhakti, but by force. They believe in bhakti, but their faith is lokika shraddha. It's a conventional faith. I saw other people doing, so I am also doing it. But they're always on this platform where in their mind they have to convince themselves again and again. Right? So by force, yeah, they're doing it, I'm doing it. If I don't do it, what will they think? Okay, so I'll do some bhakti. Like this. And logically they know it's good for themselves, but they have to keep reminding themselves. Why? Because they have not received vishesh sanskara, a special deep impression. So when we associate with the sadhu and we serve them, we please them, they bless us. And by that blessing, a vishesh sanskara comes in the chitta. Now, the way that we behave in our life is informed by the impressions that we have. So we have lots of material impressions and that make us act in a particular way. So when we receive by the mercy of Gurudev a vishesh sanskara, an intense impression of the value of devotional service, of the infallibility of Shastra. Because here when we say Shraddha, mean Shastriya Shraddha. And we feel the Vedas are true, correct, perfect, and they have come from God. Infallible. So by sadhu sangha, this vishesh sanskar comes. Now that devotee is just happily engaged in devotional service. He still has some anarthas and everything, but on the whole, he's happily engaged. He's feeling, Shraddha means prasad, an illumination of the heart, an easiness, an absence of anxiety, because it's you have the impression which is informing you how to act. Like that. So that Shraddha is not nirantara. Nirantara means continuous, because anta means interruption. So as long as it's komala Shraddha, then it is not nirantara. It will be interrupted from time to time. That means that sanskar, which is powerful and effective, becomes clouded over by other sanskars from time to time, like this. So then you may have a little doubt, then you come into sadhu sangha again, and the doubt just clears, and that sanskar is revealed again. And that happens like so many times until you finally figure out, oh, it's me, there's nothing wrong with bhakti, it's me. It's my anarthas keep covering that sanskar. Right? And so then gradually when the anarthas clear, not fully, but they're, by and large, most of them have gone, then you have nishtha. So then when you engage in bhakti continuously, without a break, what happens? Then you rise above the gunas. Mam choyabhya vicharena bhakti yogena sevate sahagunam samatijaitan brahma-bhuyaya kalpate. Like that. That means tadara jastamo bhava kamalobharyasya cheta eta navidam stitam sattve prasidati. So like this. So, because bhakti, the Swarup Shakti is like a fire, and the jiva is like iron. So when you put iron in the fire and you leave it there, then it heats up and takes on the vritti of the fire, enters into the iron. You see? So if you just put it in the fire and take it out, and put it in the fire and take it out, it never really becomes red hot. You see? So that's the stage of komala shraddha, when there's antara, breaks. But when the faith becomes strong, then your consciousness goes into that fire and stays there. That's nishtha. Not uninterrupted. And then the vritti of Swarup Shakti can permeate your consciousness. And so then there's the actual experience of the srup, true nature of bhakti. So that's why bhakti will begin, first nishtha, and then the experience will begin. And before that, it's just the development of the nirantaryamayi, the continuous engagement. Because you can know the definition of uttama bhakti, bhakti which is transcendental, is anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. So this word anushilanam means nirantara, without a break. So as long as the shraddha is komala, soft, then it has breaks, and therefore it cannot go within the category of uttama bhakti. So sadhana doesn't begin from shraddha. That's only bhajana kriya. From nishtha, then the uttama bhakti will start to appear, and the first stage of uttama bhakti is sadhana bhakti. The stage of practice. Is that clear?
Why did Srila Prabhupada give Bhakti Lata Beej or Vishesh Samskar to all his disciples? Why didn't he do that? Why did he give Bhakti Lata Beej, Vishesh Samskar to all his disciples?
The thing is this, that this planting of the seed, it may happen in a moment, or it may happen over a long period of time. It depends on the disciple. If the disciple comes and they're very respectful and they totally surrender, they can receive the Bhakti-lata Bij there and then. So obviously that disciple has some previous history. Brahmanda Brahmati Konda Bhagavan, he's very fortunate, collected Sukriti over a long time. And then others came and they have the chance to receive the Vishesh Sanskar, Ado Shraddha. But it has to be, that Sanskar has to be reinforced again and again by association, by surrender and service, until from Komala it becomes Nishtha. From soft faith it becomes strong faith. So some persons, they didn't stay around long enough for that. So I asked my Gurudev, how long does it take to plant the Bhakti-lata Bij? He said it may be instantly. To plant the Bhakti-lata Bij, it may be instantly, or it may take a year, or it may take 10 years, or it may take 50 years, or it may take a lifetime, or it may take 10 lifetimes. It depends. How is the relationship between the disciple and the Guru? You see, if the disciple comes to the Guru and thinks, oh, to progress in Bhakti I have to have initiation. Okay, this Guru will do. Let me take the initiation, take the Harinam and take the mantras. He has no relationship. The Guru is like ATM, you know, you go, you put in a number and take something out. Like that, right? So, he has no sambandha with his Guru. Then what will he get? He's just operating on the level of his own sanskars. But when the Diksha Kali Bhakta Kari Atma Samarpan, say Kali Krishna Kari Tori Atma Sam, when the disciple comes to the Guru and does Atma Samarpan, oh Gurudev, I am yours. Like that. He has mamata for his Gurudev. Oh Gurudev, without you I am nothing. I am foolish and unqualified. But at least one quality I have is that you are mine and I am yours. And they have mamata, possessiveness. They have loyalty, faithfulness, and very natural affection, Vishram Baina Guru Seva. And they never look at Guru like a mortal being. They think Sakshat Ritvena Samasta Shastri. Directly, this is one form. Gurudev is a Vaishnava, and superimposed upon that vision of a Vaishnava is also, this is one special form of Krishna who has appeared to deliver me. Like that. So they have that vision. Like that. And they never think otherwise. So then that disciple quickly, Bhakti-lata Bij will come and quickly become firm, and they enter into realization. They remember their Guru mantra and Guru Gayatri and see the Swarup of their Guru smiling, coming and then taking and engaging them in the service of Radha and Krishna. So how this Bij comes, how long it takes and so on, depends on the relation with Guru. Therefore it says, Si Guru Charane Rati Ese Uttamagati. The love for the lotus feet of one spiritual master, this is the highest. From this one gets the highest destination. That's it. Yasya Devi Parabhakti Yata Devi Tataguru Tasyaiti Katita Yata Rakasante Mahatmana.
So from Shraddha to Nishta is a planting process, and once it's planted it's Ruchi?
Yes.
So this means also they can be, even from a perfect Guru, they can be unsuccessful disciples.
Yes, of course. Yeah. It is said, what is that verse? Ascharya Vakta Kushalosya Labdha Ascharya Gyata Kushalana Shishtaha. In the Upanishads it is said that knowledge of the soul is very rare. Why? Because it's so hard to find a person who actually realized the soul. And then, if you find a person who has realized the soul, then to learn about the soul is very rare, because the qualified disciple is very rare. So it's hard to know the soul because everyone's talking about it, but actually they have no realization. And then if you find one person who has realization among all of his students, most of them are not listening. And those who are listening, some of them are listening, not following. So you have to listen and follow. That's called Sususraya Bhajana Vigyamananyaman. Nindadi Shundari Damipsisa Sankalata. We desire the association of a person who is free from the propensity to criticize anyone, who has realization in bhajan. We have to listen to them with faith and serve according to their directions. And then we can know Supreme Lord. Okay. Any other question?
Can we do the verse?
Now it's nearly 9 o'clock. So we'll begin.
I need to go tomorrow morning.
No, don't go. Don't go, because we finished the first verse today, or maybe finished in the morning, and then we start actually the Bhagavatam. Then the real katha will begin, just like you never heard in your life. You may jump from the top of Govardhan Hill if you miss this.
But can we maybe finish this perspective of Bhakti? Then at least the first verse.
That's let me see. Now we're coming to the fifth interpretation. The question is there anything higher than Radha Krishna? And the answer is Prem. Krishna Nachaya Prem, Bhakti Nachaya, Abhina Nachaya Tiranachi Ekatai. Prem makes Krishna dance, Prem makes his devotee dance, and Prem itself dances, all three dance together. So, that Prem is the Prayojan, the goal of the abhidheya of bhakti. Therefore, this bhakti can be considered the satyam param, the highest truth, the highest auspiciousness, because it has a purity which is beyond the gunas. It is said, Tadvag visago janataga vipravo yasmin patislokam abhadyavatapi namanyantasya shankitani yat srinvanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. Those words which describe the names, forms, qualities and pastimes of the Lord are not of this world, and they cause a revolution in your life. You are going this way and it turns your life upside down and you go in another direction, away from the path of karma, and you go towards Goloka Vrindavan. So such discussions, they are heard, they are chanted, they are accepted by sadhava, honest persons, truthful persons. So that katha, which is satya, eternal, which is satya, which is the truth, which is satya, that is Vishuddha Sattva, beyond the gunas, and which is the non-different from satya, the param satya Sri Krishna, and which is accepted by those who are truthful, that is bhakti. And therefore this bhakti is satyam param dhimahi. We meditate on the glories of bhakti. How can you say that bhakti is beyond the gunas? So that is expanded in Srimad-Bhagavatam. Mad guna sultimatraina mayi sarva guashaye manogatira vichinna yata gangam basom buddho. Sri Kapil Dev, he's telling Devahuti, Mad guna sultimatraina. When a person simply hears about my qualities, then I am living in that person's heart, and their consciousness, just hearing my qualities, runs towards me spontaneous, and they meet with me internally. In the same way as effortlessly the Ganges flows to the ocean, his consciousness flows towards me within his heart, simply upon hearing my qualities. So, Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya Nirgunasya Udaritam Ahoituki Avyavyayita Ya Bhakti Purushottame. Kapil Dev is saying, Lakshanam Bhakti Yogasya. This is the symptom of pure bhakti, which is Nirgunasya Udharita. Is completely Nirgun, beyond the gunas. It is ahoituki. It has no material cause, and is adhyatma-dhipa. It is unimpedable by any worldly circumstances. Sa bhakti purushottame. So, also in the 11th canto, Krishna told Uddhav, hey Uddhav, this process of bhakti that I have established is fully transcendental. Therefore, even if a person begins the path, but doesn't finish it, the fruits are never lost. You see, if you're doing the karma kanda yagya and halfway through you change your mind, and you go somewhere else, then you can't come back the next year and just start from that point. It's just lost. It's just complete loss. So, but bhakti is not like that. Because it's nirgun, whatever you do, it stays there to your credit forever. Next life you can continue from that point. This is the proof that it's nirgun. So therefore, janmadhyasya yatanvayaditarataschati shvabigaswarat. Now this is describing bhakti. Janmadhyasya yataha. From whom comes the janma of Adi. Here Adi means Gyatva Bhutadim Abhyayam. Krishna is Adi. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhaja. Krishna is Adi. Anadi Radir Govinda. He is the Adi, he is the origin of everything. Though he himself is without origin. So Janma Adi Asya Yataha. From which there is the birth of Adi Sri Krishna. In other words, when a person practices this bhakti, Krishna appears in his heart. So what, soon we'll celebrate Janmashtami. So Janmashtami is the birthday of Krishna. But the real celebration of Janmashtami is when the devotee is glorifying on his birthday, then he appears in their heart. That's actually Janmashtami. So that appearance of Krishna in the heart is brought about by the practice of transcendental bhakti. Therefore, Janmadhyasya, that which brings about the birth of Krishna in your heart, who he is Adi, that is the glory of bhakti. Anvayaditarataschateishu abhigaswarat. Now, what are the qualities of bhakti? Anvayat means following. That means that by association, Anvayat, by association with bhakti, then itarataha, the other processes such as karma, gyan and yoga may produce the fruits of Brahman realization and Paramatma realization. Only by the Anvay, the itara, the other paths, by the Anvay, following bhakti, can produce their fruits. In other words, if you do karma, no fruit. You go to hell even just doing karma. But if you also do bhakti along with your karma, then your karma will produce some fruit. Because Bhakti Devi takes pity on that person and thinks, oh, their hard work should not go in vain. Bhakti Devi is very merciful and she gives them the fruit. So karma will only produce its fruit if it's connected with bhakti. Gyan will not give liberation unless it's connected with bhakti. Yoga will not give Paramatma realization unless it's connected with bhakti. Therefore, it is said, Naiskaryam apyachuta bhavavajitam na shobhate jnanam alam niranjanam kutapuna shashwada bhadramishrare na chapitam kama yadapi karanam. This verse is very important. It occurs twice, in the beginning of Bhagavatam and the end of Bhagavatam as well. It's very important. Naiskamyam means that your jnana is free from the contamination of rajas or the performance of karmic activities. That means you've become very sattvic and you have jnana. So know that jnana, the discrimination between matter and spirit, is actually sattvic. Sattvat sanjayate jnanam. So here, naiskamyam, this jnana, which is sattvic, which is not contaminated by the rajagun. Naiskamyam apyachuta bhava varjitam. If it is varjita, it is devoid of achuta bhav, love for Krishna, achuta. Naiskama apyachuta bhava varjitam na shobhate jnanam. Then this jnana is not beautiful. Why is it not beautiful? Because it will not even give you Brahman realization. It will not, that means it will not, you will not be liberated, you will not be able to enter into Brahman, you will not get mukti, Brahman realization. So, alam niranjanam means the uncontaminated state, freedom from tamas and rajas. And alam means, so niranjanam means niranjanam, that you are not smeared with the lower gunas. And alam means enough. Enough, alam. Alam, enough. Just like very often writers, when they write an introduction to a book, they write and then they say, Alam iti vistarena. Okay, that's enough talk. I've elaborated on enough, now let the book begin. I finished my introduction. Alam iti vistarena. So alam means enough. So here, alam niranjanam means enough with this purification. In other words, what was the use of your being purified from the gunas if you never develop bhakti to Krishna? Because it's not going to give you liberation, people. So enough with that, of that. Alam niranjanam. Kutapuna shaswata bhadra ishare. So, then what is the use of the sakam karma? If you're doing karmic activities with a desire, that means you're not niranjan. Then, if jnana, which is totally free from the karma, is not beautiful, then what to speak of doing karma with material desires? Kutapuna. How much more abhadram, inauspicious, is kutapuna shaswata, but these temporary worldly activities, ishware, na chapitam karma. Or, what about if you offer, if you, yadapya karanam, yadapi akaranam means, let's say you do your karma without any motive. So it's nishkam karma. Right? So that's yadapya karanam. What if you do your nishkam karma, working, doing your duties in life without any motive? That will purify you, right? Somewhat. But here, na chapitam karma yadapya karanam, but you don't offer the fruit of your karma to Bhagavan. So that means there's not even the slightest devotional element in your performance of karma. So that's also useless. So here there are gradations, right? First of all, jnana, which is niranjan, but with no bhakti, not beautiful, it's not going to give you liberation. So then there's doing karma, but without, with desire, that's terrible, completely abhadra, completely inauspicious. Then there's doing karma without desire, but not offering it to the Lord, also useless. So in this way, Narad Muni to Vyasadeva is glorifying bhakti, that karma, sakam karma, nishkam karma, and jnana, it's all useless. There should be some connection with God, otherwise you get nothing. So, the conclusion is this. If there are two types of bhakti, pradhani bhuti bhakti and guna bhuti bhakti. Guna bhuta bhakti and pradhani bhuta bhakti. Guni bhuta bhakti means that your bhakti is mixed with karma, jnana and yoga, with karma, jnana and yoga predominating. Therefore it's called guni bhuta bhakti. It's a mixture. Bhakti is in the smaller portion and karma, jnana, yoga is the other portion. Then there's pradhani bhuta bhakti. That means your bhakti is mixed, but the predominance is of bhakti and the smaller portion is karma, jnana and yoga. So, guni bhuta bhakti, if you add some bhakti to your karma, jnana and yoga, then you can get mukti, liberation. Sayuja mukti. Muktim dadati kaichit smana bhakti. Krishna easily gives mukti. Doesn't give bhakti so often. If you do pradhani bhuta bhakti, it's mixed but bhakti is predominating, then it can produce rati, but only shantarati. So if you want anything more than shantarati, you have to do anjabilashita shunyam gyanakavantinamitam anukulyena krishnanu shilam bhakti uttama. So that's what's being glorified here. Satyam param dhimahi. Satyam is bhakti, but satyam param means pure unmixed bhakti, nirgun bhakti. Okay. So therefore it said here, janmadhyasya yataha, that the pure unmixed, I meditate on pure unmixed bhakti, which causes the appearance of the Lord in the heart, and andvayat, by association with that, itarataha, then the other processes can produce their results, such as Paramatma and Brahman realization, only by association with that bhakti. Now someone may say, but if you're on the path of bhakti, you need jnana. Right? So now abhigya. No, bhakti itself is the embodiment of knowledge. Because bhakti is the essence of samvit and ladini, and samvit means the consciousness potency of the Lord. And therefore, bhakti gives rise to all types of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, bhakti is abhigya. So, those who follow the path of jnana never get jnana. They have to take the association of bhakti and then they'll get jnana. So, jnana is dependent on bhakti. But then someone may say, yes, I accept that jnana is dependent on bhakti. But bhaktas also have to have jnana. So then they're saying, no, swarat. No. Karma, jnana and yoga, they're dependent on bhakti. But bhakti is never dependent on them. It is swarat, independent. So, Krishna in Gita, he said, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyastasmi tatvata tatomham tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. First, you get bhakti. After that, you can enter into my abode, or after that you can enter into Krishna. That is Ishvara Suyutya as well, those who want that. But they'll have to do bhakti first. So, now, bhakti is independent. It does not depend on anything. And therefore Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva karmo va moksha karma udaradi tivena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. You practice the Swarup Siddha bhakti. Only bhakti, not any other path. If you do karma with desire, it will produce a different result than doing karma without desire. But if you do bhakti with desire, bhakti will purify that desire and give you the ultimate result. That's what this verse is saying. Tivrena bhakti, you practice pure bhakti. Even if you have a desire, the desire will be fulfilled and it will go away. You know, Uttara, Parikshit Maharaj's mother, she said an amazing verse. She said, Bhakta Bhagavato yetu sakama swaichaya akilan bunjana sukabhoganste vishudam yanti tatpadam. This is a very special verse from Bhagavatam Rita. First chapter, which really expresses to us the udharata, the generosity, the kindness, the softness of Bhakti Devi. She's saying, Bhakta Bhagavato yetu sakama swaichakya. If a person is on the path of bhakti, but they are sakam, they have material desires, then what will happen? Now for a general person, everyone has their karma. So, let's say it's your desire to attain some particular thing, some place, some planet, some experience, some position, but it's not in your karma. You cannot have it. You can work for it, you can do whatever. But you'll never have it because that's not in your karma. But even from the very beginning, when a person walks on the path of bhakti, they're no longer under the control of karma. What happens? Bhakta Bhagavato yetu sakama swechaya kilan. Swecha means swaicha, according to his desire. Akilan, anything in the universe becomes available to him. That means it's not in your karma to have it. But if you're practicing bhakti, Bhakti Devi will give you what is not even in your karma, anything from the top to the bottom of the universe. Bunjana sukabhogangste. And if you enjoy anything in this material world, the happiness is always mixed. And it's mixed with suffering. But here, Uttara is saying Bunjana, Bunjana, this is the participle, means while enjoying. Sukha bhogangs, this bhog is sukh, only happiness. Bhakti Devi takes the suffering part out of it. Vishuddham means he's pure, even while he's enjoying he's pure. Sadhureva samantavya. And then after that, yanti tatpadam, he goes to the spiritual world. What? The yogis, the kamis, the gyanis, they become furious. Ah! How can you say this about bhakti? We're doing austerities and everything is difficult and fighting against material nature and desires and everything. And you're saying if someone's just on this path of bhakti, even if they have desires, bhakti will just fulfill everything and they're pure even while they're enjoying and they'll go to the spiritual world in the end. Ah, what is this? I'll tell you what it is. This is the glory of bhakti. Bhakti is so wonderful. Bhakti is so wonderful. But that is the glory of bhakti. That is not a recommendation that we should have desires. Because those desires, they will delay the attainment of the goal. Like that. So we should be anyabhyarcha shunyam, free from all desires. But this is just indicating, it's a descriptive statement, describing the glory and the power of bhakti, that it is infallible medicine. It is unstoppable. And if anyone will engage in it, akama sarva kama va moksha, if they want liberation, they have material desires, they don't have any desire, but they engage in bhakti, they'll become perfect. So, now someone may say, but that bhakti cannot be attained without the mercy of a Vaishnava. So that is described in the second line. Tene prema hridaya adi kavile gunam. So here the meaning is that here the word Brahma-Ridha is a name of Narad. It means in whose heart Krishna is living, so he's Brahma-Ridha. Krishna lives in the heart of Narad. So Tene Brahma-Ridaya adi kaviye, that Narad imparted this bhakti into the heart of Vyasadeva. Muyanti yat suraya. So others who don't receive this knowledge from Guru, they're all bewildered. They never understand bhakti-tattva. So one may raise the objection, listen, Vyasadeva is omniscient. So, if Vyasadeva is omniscient, how can he be dependent on Narad? So the answer is, yes, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kaviye. Even Vyasadeva is dependent on Guru. And anyone who will not depend on Guru to learn about bhakti, muyanti yat suraya. All sages, it doesn't matter how intelligent they are, how learned they are, how much they study and hear the Vedas. If they don't take shelter of Guru, then they will not realize bhakti-tattva. So, and this has been described in Srimad-Bhagavatam in the 6th canto by Daksha Maharaj. There's a beautiful verse. You know, Daksha Maharaj, the Hamsagulya prayers. So there's a very important verse, and our acharyas quote it often. Yat shaktayo vadatam vadinam vai vivada samvada bhuvo bhavanti korvanti chai sammo atmanmo yam tasmai namo nanta gunaya bhumne. It's a beautiful verse. This verse is the elaboration on Muyanti Yat Suraya. It's saying that Daksha is praying, Tasmai Namo Anantaya Gunaya Bhumne. I bow down to you, the Supreme Lord, of endless, unlimited qualities and the foundation of all existence. Those who are averse to you, you inspire them to come up with so many theories and philosophies. Yat-shaktayo, by your maya, by your external energy, yat-shaktayo vadatam, vadinam by the different speakers of the various vads. Maya-vad, Kevala-dvaita-vad, Buddha-vad, Jainism, Yoga-char, Madhyamik, Buddhism, all many theories, all different types of vads. Asat-karya-vad, Shanik-vigyana-vad, you know, all these things. So, so, there are so many theories. So, yat-shaktayo vadatam vadinam vai Vivada samvada, they engage in argument and counter-argument with each other all the time. Vivada samvada bhuvau bhavanti. But kurvanti chaisambu atmamoham. They are always arguing with each other. They cannot establish anything. And while that argument is going on, that philosophical debate is going on, all of them are bewildered about the nature of their own soul. They don't understand. Jivera swarubhoy, Krishna nityadas. The first thing devotee learns. The devotee asks, who am I? And Gurudeva tells, Jivera swarubhoy Krishna. You are Krishna's son. But these persons who are averse to Krishna, they're bewildered by his material energy, and it's Krishna's material energy that inspires them to come up with all these contradictory arguments, and then the subatomic volcanic reactions are going on without end. Like that. So that this verse is the purport of Muyanti Yat Suraya. So, Tejo Vari Mridam Yata Vinimeo Yatra Trisagom Mrisha means that the idea that bhakti is of the gunas, Trisarga, that is not true. Bhakti is the amrisha, not false. That means not contaminated by the Trisarga, the gunas. But it appears to be just like Tejo Vari Mridam. Tej means fire. Vari means water. And Mridam means earth. So the example is given of milk. Milk is not made of fire, milk is not made of water, milk is not made of earth. However, milk can be burnt by fire, can be mixed with water, and can have dust mixed in with it. But milk is milk. So in the same way, bhakti is sometimes called Sattvic Swarup Siddha Bhakti, Rajasic Swarup Siddha Bhakti, Tamasic Swarup Siddha Bhakti. But bhakti is always transcendental. The label Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic Bhakti is actually speaking about the qualification of the practitioner, not bhakti itself. So Tejo Vari Mridamyata, just as milk may be mixed with fire, water or earth, giving the impression, but milk is only made of milk, it is not made of those things, and it is always niragun. It is not mixed with the Trisarga. So whenever you see that it's mentioned in that way, that is only speaking about the adhikara or the consciousness of the practitioner, not the bhakti which is working under the surface to gradually purify him and bring him to that level of realization.
How can we call Swarup Bhakti Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic?
Because Swarup Siddha means that the activity itself is composed entirely of bhakti. Let's say, for example, a person, let's say a person, they have some money and they buy some food and they feed the poor, right? And then they say, my Lord, I offer this to you, right? So feeding the poor, this is called Nriyagya, sacrifice for the human beings. Or Bhuta Yagya, sacrifice for living beings. So when you feed animals, you feed the poor, this is a karma that you have to actually... So the activity itself is karma, and you offer it to the Lord. So then that's Aropa Siddha Bhakti. It's not Swarup Siddha Bhakti. So, but if a person, whatever state of consciousness they're in, chants the holy name, right? What is that? That's Swarup Siddha Bhakti. It's not Aropa Siddha Bhakti. It's Swarup Siddha Bhakti. So if he's Tamasic, it's Tamasic Swarup Siddha Bhakti. If he's Rajasic, it's Rajasic. If it's maybe Sattvic Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Like Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj is just remembering the mantra given by Narad. Om Namo Bhakti. That's all he's doing. So he's doing Swarup Siddha Bhakti, but he's doing it to get a kingdom. So Rajasic Swarup Siddha Bhakti. But Bhakti itself is never of Rajas. Bhakti is always transcendental. This is the point. So, Damna Swena Sada Nirastakokam Satyam Param Dhimahi means Damna Swena, that bhakti is itself dhamna, has its own effulgence. Sada nirasta kuakam, and therefore bhakti does not need to be proven by something else. Bhakti is its own proof. The practice of bhakti refutes all other perspectives by direct realization. Therefore, Satyam Param Dhimahi, may we meditate on that pure bhakti yoga. So, in this way, we have looked at the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam and experienced it from many perspectives. Why? Because Bhagavatam is the Lord Himself. So depending on your attitude, your method of approach, as Krishna reciprocates with everyone accordingly, Srimad-Bhagavatam, being Krishna Himself, reciprocates with everyone accordingly. So for example, you know that Mayavadis, they also read Bhagavatam, and there's so many Mayavadis in Vrindavan, even they're giving Bhagavad Saptas all the time. So, but what do they see from it? At the end of Bhagavatam there is stated, Sarva Vedanta Saram Yad Brahmatma-ikatma Lakshanam Vastuya Dvitiyam Nishtam Kaivalyaika. They say, look, at the end of the Bhagavatam, the conclusion has been given. Kaivalyaika Prayojanam. There is only one Prayojan, goal of life. Kaivalya. So Kaivalya, they take to mean, like in the Yoga Sutras, like Kaivalya Mukti. The Sayuja Mukti, to enter into the Lord and then just be in Brahman forever. Ishvara Sayuja or Brahma Sayuja, that is Kaivalya. So there, at the end, after all of this doing bhakti, the goal of bhakti is Kaivalyaika Prayojana. Vastu Advitiyam, Advitya, non-duality. Brahma-Ekatva Lakshanam, which is characterized by Brahma-Attva, Ekatva, the oneness of Brahman and the Atma. So it's right there in Bhagavatam. That's the Brahman. So that's not what it means. Brahma means Krishna and Atma means Krishna's Atma is Radharani. So this highest goal is characterized by realizing the oneness of love between Brahma and the Atma of Brahma, Radha and Krishna. Kaivalyaika Prayojanam, the Prayojan is a Kaivalya, that means that the bhakti should be Kevala Bhakti. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. The bhakti should not be mixed with anything. So Kaivalyaika Prayojanam. But the words of Bhagavatam are such that even Mayavadis can read it and they find the evidence for their perspective in it. And so, in this way, the Srimad-Bhagavatam is compared to Mohini Murti. Mohini Murti is the form of the Lord. All the demons were attracted to her, but what did she do? She cheated them of the nectar. So when the Mayavadis approach Srimad-Bhagavatam, because they have no devotion to Krishna, Bhagavatam becomes the form of Mohini Murti and cheats them of the rasa-amrita. Sarva Vedanta Saramhi Srimad-Bhagavatam Ishite Tad Rasamrita Triptasya Nanyasyadva Yadrati Kwatit. So Bhagavatam is actually, the essence of Vedanta is rasa-amrita. But in the form of Mohini Murti, Bhagavatam is taken like that. So, another example is given in Srimad-Bhagavatam 10th canto. It's described how Krishna entered into the wrestling arena of Kamsa Maharaj. So there's a very beautiful verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam which really embodies the conclusion of the Taittiriya Upanishad, Rasovaisaha. Malanam masanirninam naravarastrinam smaro murtiman gopanam swajano satam shitubhujam shashta sopitro shishu mrityu bojupate virada vidusham tattvam param yoginam vrishninam paradevateti vidito rangam gato sagrajaha. Rangam gato sagraja. Krishna, Sagraja, along with his elder brother Balaram, entered into the Ranga, the wrestling arena. And at that time, he was the center of everyone's attention. All were looking at him. So who was looking at him? Malanam, the wrestlers who were about to fight with him. Narabara, and the general people, they looked at him. The men who were there. And the women, Strinam, Smaro Murtimam, Gopanam, the coward boys were there. And the wicked kings who were supporting Kamsa, Kshitibhujam, Shasta, Sopitro, Shishu, his own parents, Vasudeva and Devaki were looking at him. Mrityu Bhojapate, and the king of the Bhojas, Kamsa Maharaj, was looking at him. Ignorant persons, Avidush, they were looking at him. Yoginam, the yogis were looking at him. Vrishninam, the members of the Yadu dynasty were looking at him. But they all saw him in a different way. In this verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam, though the Srimad-Bhagavatam does not describe the rasa-tattva, 4,500 years later, Rupa Goswami said, there are 5 primary rasas, 5 mukhya rasas, and there are 7 secondary rasas. Yet Srimad-Bhagavatam, thousands of years before, was presenting Krishna in this verse exactly as the object of 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas. So you should understand that what Srila Rupa Goswami has written, it's all completely based on Bhagavatam. Ramananda Parshijata Siddhanta Shuniliya Rupe Kripa Kori Prabhu Sava Sancharila. It is said that whatever Mahaprabhu heard from Ramananda, right, that Mahaprabhu inspired in the heart of Rupa Goswami. Krishna-tattva, Bhakti-tattva, rasa-tattva pranta, lila-tattva, prema-tattva, Bhagavad-siddhanta. And whatever was given, it was all Bhagavad-siddhanta. It wasn't a new or independent thing. It was only that Ramananda Rai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, they illuminated the Bhagavatam and revealed it to the world in a way that had never been done before. So in this verse, now you have to do some work. I'm not going to sit here all day doing this. I want to hear from you. In this verse, where are the 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas? Okay, let's go. Who'll start the ball rolling? You're so popular. No one wants you to leave. So, Kamsa. Mrityu Bhojapate Virar Vidusham. Bhojapate, he sees Krishna as death personified. So that is Bhayanak rasa, fear. Okay, 1 down, 11 to go. Then, who else? Strinam Smaromurtiman. The Strinam, the ladies of Mathura, Smaramurti, the embodiment of Cupid. It was Madhurya Rasa.
And the wrestlers, Vida Rasa.
Then?
The wrestlers.
Malanam Masanirnam. The wrestlers saw Krishna as a thunderbolt. So thunderbolt is a weapon used in fighting. So when they saw him, then they felt Veeras, ready to fight. Okay, that's 3. Keep going. 3 down, 9 to go.
The elders, like Devaki and Vasudeva, they had Vatsalya Bhav.
Sopitro Shishu. Sopitro means his 2 parents. They saw him as a child. So they have Vatsalya Rasa.
And the cowboy.
Wait. They have 1 primary and a secondary one as well. Karun Ras, yes, Karun Ras. That means compassion, because they're thinking, how can this little boy fight with these huge wrestlers? His body's as big as mountains and hard as stone. So Karun Ras. Okay, we've got 5 so far.
Coward boys, Sakya Rasa.
Gopanam Swajano. The coward boys saw him as their own villager. And so that is Sakya and Hasya also. Okay, now we have 7. 5 left. Sakya and Hasya between Krishna and the coward boys.
The men saw him as the hero?
Yes. Nrinam Narabara. The general men there, they saw him as the best among men. But what rasa was it?
Shanta.
Shanta. You know, when one man sees another man who looks stronger than tougher than him, he feels Shantarasa. But Krishna was so impressive, they experienced
Adbhut.
Adbhut, yes. Vismay. Adbhut rasa is a Vismay rati. Right? Okay, so we're now up to 8. 8. We have 4 more left.
So the men have both Adbhut and Shanta.
And Virya.
No, they don't have Shanta. They definitely don't have Shanta. Then?
So that's 9.
Vibhatsaras.
We are at 7 then plus 2. 9.
Huh?
We have 9.
No, we're up to 8, I think.
We're at 7.
What do we have left?
We have discussed
Vibhatsa,
that
Shanta,
young boy has
Dasya.
and Dasya. So we have 9. We have 3 left. 9, 10, yeah, and 3 left. So Vibhatsa, Dasya, and Shanta are left.
sages had chanted.
Yes, correct. Tattvam param yoginam. The yogis who were there saw him as the Parama-tattva and they felt Shantarasa. Okay, so that's 10. 2 are left.
And when has people will discuss that young boy has to fight such huge wrestlers?
Not the cow.
Or when they see the blood.
Aha, yeah. Avidusham, virada vidusham. The ignorant persons who were there, they saw Krishna as an ordinary human being. And because he just beaten Kuvalayapita to death, and his driver as well with a tusk, and he was spattered with blood and sweating, so they felt, who is this regular guy covered in blood entering into the ring like this? So they, avidusham, virada vidusham, that was disgust of the ignorant persons. So that is, only one thing is less, dasya. Vrishninam Paradevateti. The members of the Vrishni dynasty, the Yadus, they saw him as a Paramadevata. The Ishtadev, Supreme Lord, so they felt dasyanas towards him like that. So in this way, in this beautiful verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam, one Krishna, seen by many persons, is experienced in a completely different way. So this example is being given to illustrate the nature of Srimad-Bhagavatam is Krishna. Everyone is reading Srimad-Bhagavatam and they're seeing it in a different way. Someone's reading Srimad-Bhagavatam and they're getting Dasyaras, someone's seeing Srimad-Bhagavatam and getting Shantaras, someone's seeing Srimad-Bhagavatam getting Madhuryaras, someone's reading Srimad and getting Sakyaras like this. So in this way, Srimad-Bhagavatam is not different from Krishna. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Grantaraj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. So in this way, we completed first verse.